Coach and Nick from Echo Base Network. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens. Echo Base Network. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight at Echo Base TV, where community happens.
Oh, might help if I unmuted my microphone. So I'm not on camera because I'm out of town. But welcome to another EBN Cast. Culture's running late. We're also going to be joined by John F. Trent here shortly and Tom Connors. But real quick, I just wanted to get the show started. Go through a couple things real quick. Before we get started, I wanted to mention 4 ways that you guys can support us. Well, it's not really 4 anymore, but 1, EBN memberships, which is a great way to just be a part of this fellowship here at EBN. Of course, our Patreon page where we upload tons of stuff that we cannot post here on YouTube. I'm actually, as soon as I get back in town, I'm going to be putting the last episodes of Cobra Kai, the final season, the final episodes up there. I've not watched them yet, but I'm going to I am going to go see Captain America, Brave New World. Unfortunately, just so I can review it for the channel here this next week and all the other streams that I jump on. Our merch store, which no longer exists, which I'm going to be getting with Culture at some point to get a merch store set up with him. And then, of course, Super Chats. If there's a topic you guys want to hear us hit on or anything like that, feel free to send in Super Chats and we will cover it and kind of turn it into its own little topic. So those are the different ways you can support us here. John F. Trent is here. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Hey, man. Happy Friday. Good to be here.
Yep,
The weekend is upon us.
It is Friday and it's Valentine's Day. So
Yes.
hope everybody out there is having a good Valentine's Day. We are not really doing anything special for Valentine's Day. It's just going to be a normal show. I don't really celebrate Valentine's Day, but to everybody out there that does, hey, congratulations to y'all. I did mention
You don't
John,
celebrate the brutal torture of a Catholic priest in the 3rd century?
No.
Martyr?
I did hear from one of the panelists on Doomcock stream that's over in Japan that they have something similar, but it's on one day is in February and the other days in March, and one of those days it's like the guys buy girls stuff, but then the day in March the girls buy guys stuff. So it's like, they kind of make it fair. The guy's not going out there having to spend all the money and do everything while the girl just sits there and doesn't do anything.
I wonder which corporations are behind that.
No telling. No telling. It is a Japanese thing.
Well, I say that because if you go back and you look through some Japanese history, they didn't used to buy diamonds for engagement rings. It was
Really?
it was a De Beers marketing campaign that they ran post World War II. I think it was in the 50s, and now they all buy diamonds. It's they've normalized that over there, similar to how we do it here.
Huh? I did not know that.
Highly effective marketing propaganda.
Yeah, sounds like it. Real quick, we are gonna go ahead and jump into this first news topic, and this is kind of an old one that resurfaced. I'm sure you probably saw this floating around out there. So this article came out in 2016, and it says, "Of course, Luke Skywalker is gay," confirms Mark Hamill, echoing thousands of fan fiction prayers. I don't know who those fans are, but all right, whatever.
Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do. You know who those fans are.
Yeah. They're all the purple-haired weirdos, fake fans out there that were wanting this. But yeah, Shatner. Let me zoom in on this a little bit more. All right. Yeah. So Shatner, yesterday. For those Star Wars fans who are trying to tell me Disney ruined everything, I assume you're referring to Mara Jade? Question mark. Hamill actually ruined it for you when he revealed Luke was gay. Mara being struck from Star Wars canon was part of her annulment agreement from the Force. Oh, geez. Shatner is the GOAT on trolling on Twitter between him and Hamill. I did see Shatner on Bill Maher though.
Don't forget the other guy, Sulu, Torch Decay.
Oh,
he said some epic back and forth with him too.
Yeah, they do not get along at all, not even kind of. And welcome Tom Connors to the show.
Hi.
Hey, Tom.
Culture should be along here shortly. We're just talking about
I'm
this.
leaving, man.
We're just talking about this Vanity
He's got a
Fair.
hangover from that 30,000 sub celebration stream, I think, yesterday.
Yeah.
Because he's gay.
Yeah, which is what we're talking about right here. with this resurfacing of this Vanity Fair article that Shatner tweeted. I'm sure you
From
saw it floating around.
2016, yeah.
Yeah. But interesting. So if you just do a Google search, so this is Google's AI, and this is what it says now. While there's no official confirmation in the main Star Wars films that Luke Skywalker is gay, some recent Star Wars canon stories, including a short story and Stories of the Jedi and Sith, depict Luke is attracted to a man, opening the door for interpreting his sexuality as gay. However, this is a recent addition to the narrative and not explicitly stated in the original trilogy, leaving room for fans to interpret his sexuality as they choose. No, you don't interpret it as you choose. He's not gay. And it's pretty clear.
You mean he didn't want to do his sister?
I mean, is that gay? And did he know it was his sister at the time?
Well, no, I mean, last I checked, she was a female, though. So that's
yeah, definitely.
And does Mara know?
Yeah, and there was a couple other people he was attracted to throughout the EU books as well. I cannot remember their names because I'm not a big, huge EU guy. But it has some key points to consider. The original Star Wars films never explicitly state Luke Skywalker's sexuality. Yeah, it does. So I would argue that point for sure. Many fans have interpreted Luke as a queer character due to his hero's journey narrative, which can resonate with coming out stories. What? What? Oh my God. Mark Hamill's stance. Actor Mark Hamill has stated that he believes fans should be able to interpret Luke's sexuality as they see fit. Of course he would, because Mark Hamill is a nut job weirdo. So no surprise there. And then, of course, the recent canon inclusions, some recent Star Wars canon stories have depicted Luke in the same-sex relationship, indicating potential shift in portrayal. Yeah, only with Disney Star Wars has that
Yeah,
become
the woman who wrote that story, I think, is an activist.
Oh, yeah.
I remember writing that. I can't find it on when I was at Bounty in the Comics. I'm not seeing it. They might have deleted it. They've deleted a lot of articles I wrote in the past.
Yeah, no telling. And I would not be surprised at all. Like not even kind of. But John, your thoughts on Shatner and this whole Luke gay thing kind of popping back up there in the ethos of the interwebs?
I mean, he's kind of right. I mean, this is 2016, right? They're coming out with saying Luke Skywalker is gay, and then that was what Force Awakens or whatever had just come out, or came out in the year before, 2015 or whatever. So they were already starting to push this whole DEI LGBTQ plus agenda, and it was the beginning of the end of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. And then look what's happened to Mark Hamill. I mean, the guy went from kind of a hero where he was criticizing Rian Johnson's like desecration to kind of fully going on the party line. And I mean, in my opinion, it looks like he was being paid to post all those political comments. There's a reason why he hasn't said anything since, for the most part, since the election. But yeah, that's Shatner's right on the money there. So
yeah, Tom, thoughts on all this resurfacing?
Look, you can blame a lot on me. I get it, the boy has daddy issues. But you can't blame this on me.
That is true, Vader. That is true. Nobody is blaming you for sure. I think everybody's blaming the
Palpatine's sexuality is very questionable, but there's no doubt about mine.
Yeah, I mean, you did have 2 kids, so you know. I think you're pretty safe as well there,
My
Vader.
blaster is working, as we say here.
Yeah, didn't it get damaged in the fire? How's that thing still work?
We don't discuss that.
Oh, geez. Anyways, guys, that's that story. I thought it was pretty funny that Shatner kind of brought that back up, so I did want to mention it today. Real quick, Sodak Chopper Remember, for 9 months, eating spicy food at 45 is a crapshoot. Yeah, it is. I can actually still handle spicy food, honestly. I actually made my uh, nachos, my famous nachos, the other night for Mexican Iron Man, and he agreed they are the best nachos he's ever had. I would put them up against anybody's in the world. They are the bomb. Just saying. Just saying. Uh, anyways, moving along. Tom, you got a story you want to hit on for us today?
Oh, me personally,
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny, this whole Crocodile Dundee business.
I do not know the details on this.
Okay, we did do a video on it. Let me see if I can bring up an article for you here.
Mm.
I didn't have one ready, but there is a few. So yeah, what's going on is it's the anniversary. I think in Australia next year it would be here in the U.S. for
Mhm.
Crocodile Dundee, which is a huge Australian film, obviously, and was a big movie here worldwide, and even had a couple sequels. But it's being remastered for the anniversary, along with a documentary it's going to get to go with it. But it looks like there's been some things edited from the film, and Paul Hogan is okay with it. And this also seems to be something that the Australian Film Board is pushing for. Like, they want to re-rate movies every 10 years now and possibly edit things out. Like, even movies like Mary Poppins, for instance. So, yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is just insane. So the scenes that have been cut specifically mainly have to do with the cross-dressing characters in the movie, which most people can understand probably why. But I still feel like it's stupid, as
Oh,
most
yeah.
people do. And in the context of the film, it makes sense. Yeah, the first time it's a little bit over the line, but the second time it's played off as a pure joke. So, like, I don't know. I feel like people have just gotten way too, how do you put it? Way too worked up over some of this stuff being edited from film, as far as like trying to reframe the past, right? And it's like, not only that, it's the labels are also bothering me too, because it's like, you should know in most cases that a movie, if it's made in the 80s, yeah, it might have some sensibilities that now are outdated. Like,
Yeah.
that's a parent's job to tell a kid. I don't think a movie should have a warning label. Because to me, a warning label is just the first step to getting edited, as we see here with this movie specifically, right? And
Is
then
it
from
getting
there-
depicted in a negative manner? It's like it's making
Yes.
fun of these people.
No-ish. Like, in the first case, like, if you guys remember the film, okay, so what the two scenes are about is, first scene, he's in a bar with a taxi driver, and he's been talking to this, who he thinks is a woman, right? And the taxi driver pulls him
Okay.
aside. He goes, "That's a guy." And he goes, "That ain't no dude." You know, basically in so many words. Walks up, grabs him in the jimmy. And then the guy freaks out and leaves. So he's like, "Oh, that wasn't no Sheila." You know, basically, that's the joke.
Oh,
So-
yeah, I remember that.
so
scene.
then
Right.
later on,
it's him being this like Australian hick coming into like big city.
yeah,
New
it's
York
because
and all
from
the
his
weirdo
naivety.
bottom
Yeah, and not only
like,
that, the
that
other
are
character's
happening
technically lying to him, right? Like, presenting themselves as a woman. So
Right.
in that case, I would call it a draw. And then it comes back later because there's a scene where they're at a cocktail
Well,
party.
I would assume that he's like shocked by it and like maybe how does Crocodile Dundee react to it?
He's just
after
like,
he, like-
whatever. He's like, "Oh, that's something new." Like, basically, like, I don't know if you haven't seen the movie before, if it's been that long, but yeah, that's basically
been a
like his
while.
reaction. It's just like, "Well, that was a thing," you know, like, okay, moving on, you know, like nothing new, you know. Because then later on, he comes up to another character at a cocktail party who is clearly a cross dresser, and you can tell, and he just walks right up to them and grabs the junk to check. He's like, "Yeah, thought so." Yeah, like, and the other person's, and then of course Linda Kozlowski's character goes, "Sorry, he's from Australia," and then the character goes, the cross dressing character goes, "Well, I think I need to go visit Australia more often." So that's the joke, right? It's like he's not offended by the fact that this guy just walked up and grabbed him. That's Mick Dundee just doing the test because that's his naive way of understanding this situation because he's never seen a cross-dresser before he came to America, right? And in the context of the time and the character, there's nothing really devious about it, right? So that to me, it's like, is that really worth editing the film for? And I guess they even cut out that's not a knife. This is a knife scene, but that's more so I think to do with, more current things with knives being a problem in certain places.
Wait, they
like
got rid of
Australia
that's like
and
the
UK.
iconic scene.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Like that scene is
I know.
iconic.
Tell me about it. Like this has not been something that's been well received, let's say.
Wow. So once they release this, I'm sure there's probably going to be a lot of fan edits that will basically take this cut and probably edit those scenes back in there.
Possibly. I mean, here's the thing. It has many different international distributors. In the US, it's distributed by Paramount. And they claim that Paramount asked them to cut this years ago. Which, yeah, years ago, I could see Paramount asking something like that. Nowadays, though, I don't think they would care. In fact, if anything, they just as soon probably release the original version with a label if they had to. In fact, I've never seen Paramount release anything with labels. The president of Paramount about a year or so ago even said, I was trying to find the article the other day and I couldn't locate it. But he even said, he's like, look, we're going to have things on Paramount Plus that may not be for everybody. And if you don't like it, don't watch it. Right? Like, and this is right on the cusp of Beavis and Butthead coming back and South Park and all that kind of stuff being on there. And they were commenting, I think on South Park, I think is what it was about. But yeah, so, and I've never seen a warning label on anything on Paramount Plus that I can recall, but I haven't watched a lot of older films or anything like that. So today, I don't know if they would. But if they have both versions, fine, but I'm still not a fan of this idea, regardless of what the content is.
Yeah, I'm not either. And also joining us, Culture Casino himself. What's going on, Culture?
Oh, a great deal. I mean, if you've been paying attention to the news, it's been absolutely bonkers.
That's not a bid. That's a bid.
Yeah. So our first topic that we covered was the William Shatner saying that Mark Hamill ruined Star Wars when he came out of the closet and basically said he was gay. The old Vanity Fair article that came out. And now we're hitting this Crocodile Dundee. Apparently, I guess they took 2.5 minutes out. The cross-dressing scene where he grabs the cross-dresser's junk. And then that's not a knife. This is a knife scene, which is insane. I can't believe that they edited one of the most iconic scenes of the film out.
Yeah, that's kind of strange, but not at all. I mean, you would expect that in the modern day. Although, again, I think we'll be seeing less and less of that as we've seen a pivot in culture. So the fact that they've decided to edit this for, this tiny little fractional amount of humanity that has this sensitivity is kind of ridiculous just at its core. So for how long will it be this way? Probably not long. A lot of these people are going to find a comeuppance here very, very soon.
Yeah, I agree. John, thoughts on the Crocodile Dundee edit? 4K.
The knife edit seems utterly ridiculous. I probably am not against the second one that Tom described. Like that does sound like it's kind of trying to make light of it, but also at the same time is showing it as like a positive. So I'm not really against them taking that out.
I'm not sure it's necessarily a positive, but yeah.
Well, just the way you described it, he says he needs to go to Australia more often, indicating that like
that's the joke. He just thinks everybody will walk up and grab his junk. Yeah.
Well, right. It's showing that as like a positive and then treating it as light. So that's kind of what I'm saying there. Like I get it, it's a joke, but at the same time, it's making it as a positive, right? It's not like a negative joke. If that makes sense.
I guess you're just looking. It looks that's just a little too much for me, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Real quick, Blood Guilty Gaming Member for 24 months. Hail to you, good
Wow.
sir. We are You Are EBN Cast. Great show so far, boys. Keep up the good work. Disney Star Wars is dying, and we are more alive than ever. Yeah, Disney Star Wars is dead. It is
We're gonna find out
completely
next year.
dead.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be curious to see how many people actually go to that Mando Grogu movie. I don't think it's going to be the turnout that they're expecting
When
at all.
when was the last time we heard about Grogu though? I mean, John, have you heard a peep? Tom? I mean, I
Not
haven't.
since season 3
It's
of
done.
No, there's some rumors that have been circulating earlier that came out earlier this year talking about Embo is like the main villain. And I remember, what was it, 2 weeks ago we were talking about this. I mean, I feel like I brought up stories
No, but
uh,
I mean, the public is the
officially.
public.
Well, officially, Lucasfilm I don't think has announced anything, but we have seen we have heard some things coming out of the set, whether that's being leaked on purpose or whatnot. But about the plot with the what's the hut that was kidnapped in that first animated movie that George Lucas made.
the Clone
And now
Wars
he's an
movie,
adult.
Rada.
And he's gonna, Rada the Hutt, and he's gonna be like a gladiator and all this stuff. So we have seen some of that stuff, but there's like one side is like trying to kill him, and Embo is like the assassins trying to kill him, and Mando is hired by basically the New Republic to go and kind of save Rada the Hutt. Like that's what the leaks have said. And that's like Jeff Snyder, John Roca, I think, and then this other guy. He's done a bunch of interviews with Katie Sackhoff. Christian Harloff. Yeah. So I mean, he clearly has connections with people at Lucasfilm.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the one that was like, I've been busting my ass as a Star Wars fan for years because he didn't get the
invite.
For the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge premiere at Disney in California at Disneyland. Yeah, he got freaking roasted for that.
That's
was that when he was at Collider?
Yeah.
That's that Access Media thing, John.
Yeah.
If you
he has it. He does have the access, right?
He does. So. Yeah, you sell yourself to the devil and you get access to hell. So anyway.
Apparently Campy had pissed a lot of his access people off with a lot of his stuff because he doesn't get the invites and go to those anymore.
I don't know that he really needs them. I mean, people are still going to talk.
He's
to
big
him.
enough now.
Yeah. And look, you kind of, if you want something to go well, you're kind of going to grease his palm. You know.
Oh yeah.
It's just the way it is. But I'm gonna just say this. I was trying to speak to the fact that there's no buzz in the public about Grogu. Maybe there might be for this movie. There isn't any. I don't. Tom wanted to collect the thing right away. He was all about the Grogu thing. But to me, I feel like the gimmick is over. It's no longer going to be cute. He's not really going to be a trained Force user. I mean, what's his purpose? I mean, at this point, it's to just be carried around by Mando for 200
sell
years.
Merch.
I don't know. It doesn't sell merch anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. No. I was like, we got Pro in the chat here. We need to get him in touch with Deep Toy and see how those Grogu sales are looking. If they've they've gotten worse than the last time we got a report from Deep Toy.
This is right where I was running in from. Yeah, no, Nick. This $10 super chat from WW Pro. Thanks for letting me borrow one of your panelists. That would be me for a few minutes. Love my EBN friends. Luke's not gay, but Lucasfilm is.
100% agree. 100%. And it was good hanging out with you in Orlando, Pro. Always a good time. Definitely cannot wait for the next hangout. We always have fun at these meetups. It's always a good time. Even though Valiant lost Culture's Ken Flint autograph and can't find it anywhere. And I've been holding on to that thing for 3 years for you, Culture. He's like, I took it inside and I put it in my pocket and he left super early. And as soon as he got out of the car, I was like, make sure you put this in his room, slide it under the door or something. So when he leaves, he sees it or something. He's like, I'll give it to him. He was pretty toasty though.
Yeah,
We-
yeah. He was a little drinky, and I was out of there at like a little after 5 a.m. So
yeah,
Oh, because
yeah,
he has a poster in his car. Is it a
yeah.
poster?
Nick,
The what a poster?
the autograph.
Oh no. It's so we had Ken Flint when that book came out. What was
Yeah.
it called again? Culture?
Oh man, off the
Uh
top of my head, that's 3
I,
years ago. Hang
I
on.
can't remember. I have it, but anyways, it was a book that
Something
was
of the
never,
Empire.
yeah, it was something. It was a book that was never released, and
Yeah.
it was released. I think it was the second EU book ever written, and they never officially released it. He wrote the whole thing, and then they just basically canceled it. Well, it ended up getting released like 3
Heart
years
of
ago.
the Empire.
Huh?
Heart of the Empire.
I think that might be it.
That sounds about right. I remember that now. I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. Yeah.
And so,
Part of the Jedi, says Karen Owen.
oh yeah, Heart of the Jedi. Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
I actually still have a couple copies of that book, by the way, here at the house. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think Coach might have another one of those autographs. If so, I'll
Oh
get
no,
him to
I'm not gonna
put it
make
in
you
an envelope.
sacrifice your. No, I'm not gonna make you
That-
sacrifice.
we had a bunch of them.
So
And I think
it's an autographed book, not a poster.
Yeah.
yeah. So he just signed. So when we had him on, he went ahead and signed like 100 of these just little sticky note things that you put into books. So
Okay.
it's not the actual book; it's just his autograph that you peel off and then you stick it into the book. And I told Culture I'd hang on to one for him, and I've been holding it for like 3 years, and brought it with me, and then Valiant lost it.
So unlikely that it's the poster in Pro's car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Pro says 10-4 poster because of Jonas. Yeah, and Jonas was there too. And speaking of people that were supposed to be there, Sundowners Club for $19.99. Thanks for letting me borrow one of your panelists. Oh wait, there are no women in here. Never mind. Yeah, very true. So Sundowners, you were supposed to be in Orlando. So Sundowners was the one that told me about it in the first place. Because I wasn't on YouTube much at the time, and I didn't even know it was even going on in February. And so I was like, and then I started asking everybody else about it, and like Culture's like, yeah, I'm going to MegaCon. Everybody else was saying they were going, and I was like, man, I need to go ahead and book this then. And then Sundowners didn't even make it down. Yep. Next time, Sundowners, next time for sure. But thank you for the $20 super chat. Hell to you, good sir. If you guys aren't subbed to Sundowners Club, definitely go check him out. We need to get you here on a Friday, one day when you're off work. I don't know what your work schedule is, but yeah, we'll have to get you on here to guess one Friday. All right, that gets us caught up on super chats. John, what story do you got for us today?
Yeah, I got this one here. Let's see if it shows, if I can get it. Hold on. Why is it not showing up? Here, maybe? No. I don't know if that's, oh, that's a Chrome tab. I can put it up anyways, though.
Oh, I got it right here.
Yeah, hold on. This one. Yeah, so the FCC has opened an investigation into Comcast and NBC Universal for promotion of DEI.
I heard this.
Found this. Yeah, it's pretty big. So the FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, sent a letter to Comcast and NBC Universal CEO Brian Roberts, informing him that the FCC's Enforcement Bureau has been instructed to open an investigation into Comcast and NBC Universal to ensure that your companies are not promoting invidious forms of discrimination in violation of FCC regulations and civil rights laws. He goes on and says, I'm concerned that Comcast and NBC Universal may be promoting invidious forms of DEI in a manner that does not comply with FCC regulations. Goes on to cite all of the stuff that's on the company's website, as well as what's been reported about the company, noting all of their DEI initiatives, that DEI is a core value of their business, et cetera, and says that promoting invidious forms of discrimination cannot be squared with any reasonable interpretation of federal law. It can only deprive Americans of their rights to fair and equal treatment under the law. It goes on to cite a number of Supreme Court rulings against such discrimination. In the letter, And then he kind of explains that why he chose to target them. He says, to ensure that every entity the FCC regulates complies with civil rights protections enshrined in the Communications Act and the agency's EEO rules, including by shutting down any programs that promote invidious forms of DEI discrimination. And says he chose NBC Universal first because that he says here, first, as noted above, there is substantial evidence that your companies are still engaging in the promotion of DEI. Second, your companies cover a range of sectors regulated by the FCC, from cable to high-speed internet, and from broadcast TV stations to MVNO wireless offerings. Therefore, I expect that this investigation into Comcast and its NBC Universal operations will aid the Commission's broader efforts to root out invidious forms of DEI discrimination across all of the sectors the FCC regulates. So basically, he started with NBC Universal as a giant shot across the bow to literally all of these other companies, corporations that the FCC regulates. What I found really interesting is that this letter was sent to NBC Universal on February 11th. And interestingly enough, that's the day that the Walt Disney Company is axing their Reimagine Tomorrow program, deleting that site from their website. There's a email that was sent out by Sonia Coleman, their Chief Human Resources Officer, who is all about the DEI there. You can see what is it, diversity and inclusion within Disney. And according to that report, Axios said, according to the report on the email that Coleman said, they scrapped the Reimagine Tomorrow program, which this inclusion standards is clearly on that, where they are obviously having quotas for sex and race. So they're clearly discriminating based on that. I mean, you can literally read the first one. Characters, 50% or more of regular and recurring written characters come from underrepresented groups. Right. And then like you go to the second one, 50% or more of producer and above on writing staff, and 50% or more of co-producer and below on writing staff come from underrepresented groups. If you go back to the Reimagine, I don't have it in this article, but if I'm sure you guys remember, you go back to that Reimagine Tomorrow, they said by 2023, they wanted 50% of all front-facing characters to be from underrepresented groups throughout their kind of programs that they were putting on.
I remember that.
ABC General Entertainment.
And we had that Disney employee on that basically confirmed all that, but was basically why he was let go, because the HR admin basically told him, it has nothing to do with your performance. It's basically because I can't put this in writing, but it's basically because you're a white guy.
Yeah, and if you recall, there was a Google employee who was fired, I want to say 2019, around there, for basically outing Google and all of its DEI agenda as well. And he was fired for basically whistleblowing on all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, this stuff has clearly been in these companies for quite a bit. I mean, you look and read a lot of their mission statements, especially the video game companies, Ubisoft, Activision, Blizzard. They all have very similar language to what is in this letter about NBC Universal. It's core to the business, etc. And they're all about we need to change our industry, and by changing our industry, we can change the world, etc. Is basically what they all say. But the Axios report also says that they adjusted the trigger warnings in front of its movies on its streaming service, Disney Plus. I don't know. I saw some of the examples. It's basically they watered it down a little bit, I guess, but it's still very similar.
My understanding is it's what it was before 2019, because they used to have them. They've had them on for a while on some of them, especially Dumbo and a few other ones, because of the crows and all that.
They launched. Yeah, I think they had them.
Yeah, but even before they launched, they had them on other things too, like even like their broadcast versions, streaming and other streaming versions, and I think even on the video for Dumbo, I'd have to check, because like that one specifically because of the crows, I remember. But like, so yeah, what they did is just reverted it back to the old version they used to have, where it just says this has outdated beliefs or something like that. Basically, it's a real shortened version of it.
Okay. But the Axios report also says that they rebranded their employee resource groups, which were, if you look at any of these companies, I think Nintendo of America has it too. They have all of these employee resource groups that are literally broken down by race, ethnicity, and in some cases, sexuality and sex as well. And so they've rebranded those. And then they apparently have just replaced a diversity and inclusion performance factor, which I think Pro and his team were the first to kind of break that. They had spoken to a insider and shared a lot of those like internal documents on how they had those diversity and inclusion performance factors when it came to how they were rating their employees and whether or not the employees were going to be eligible for promotions and things like that and bonuses, etc. So they literally have that. It's now confirmed, which I think it was already confirmed with Pro with all the slides and stuff that his source had shared. And now they have replaced it with a talent strategy factor. So who knows if that's just a rename or a rebrand or if they're actually changing anything. But Disney is clearly, I think, responding to not only this letter, but there's also an executive order, which obviously I think this FCC investigation is all centered around, called Ending Illegal Discrimination and Restoring Merit-Based Opportunity. And it's basically all about rooting out DEI in the private sector, telling agency heads to create reports that will identify the most egregious and discriminatory DEI practitioners in each sector of concern. So one assumes that NBC Universal was the one most egregious, right? And that's who they're targeting. And also, and
will there be anybody left in the building?
Yeah, really?
Yeah. So creating a plan to deter these DEI programs from being instituted in private corporations and in the private sector. And which I mean, again, a lot of these companies, are they really private sector? A lot of them have like contracts with the federal government, et cetera, too, right? So, and they're doing federal government work. We know that a lot of these companies are getting money for propaganda movies and things like that they do, and other things. So there's lots of like factors weighing into this. And then also it says that if the private sector isn't going to comply, that litigation and regulatory action are other measures that should be looked into and potentially enacted on these companies. So I thought this was a really big story because this stuff is happening. It's not just an executive order. It's not just a piece of paper. An investigation has already been launched, and we're seeing action being taken by other companies within kind of the same sphere the same day that this letter is being written and the investigation being announced. So
yeah. So I actually got
things are happening.
I actually got a question for all you guys, and we'll just I'll let you answer, John. Then we'll just go down the line and get Culture and Tom's thoughts. Do you guys think that these companies are really going to get rid of this stuff, or do you think they're going to rebrand and just internalize it, call it something else, but kind of stick with their kind of DEI agenda, but just not call it that, or openly, discuss it?
Yeah, so I think it's probably a little bit of both, right? So I think the law is a teacher, and these companies are going to find out, as the Walt Disney Company has been finding out, I feel like, for the last 4 years, that when you try and cross the line of the government, it doesn't usually end up well for you.
No.
You can just look at all the SIFTOD stuff, and Disney has been constantly losing with all of that stuff to the state of Florida. And I think they're going to learn the hard way here again, which looks like maybe they have figured out that maybe they don't want to learn the hard way, and are already taking measures to maybe actually comply with the executive order and the new administration's enforcement mechanisms on that executive order and the laws that are currently on the books. I do think that they are going to try and hide a lot of this stuff as well too. But I think that from everything I'm seeing and everything that the Trump administration has been signaling is, if they rebrand it, they call it whatever, they call it something else, try and change the name of it, they're going to find it. They're going to be looking for it, and they're going to be trying to excise it from the private sector. So I think you're going to see a little bit of both. But I do think that at the end of the day, the government's going to win.
Yeah, I agree. Culture, thoughts on all this?
Well, first and foremost, I think great coverage by everybody that's been involved in this particular story. So from you guys to that Park Place to Bounding to, gosh, some of the other folks, even Matt McGloin and his team over there at his place. I'll just say everybody's been doing a good job. Go ahead.
Our Cosmic Book News is
Cosmic Books. Yeah, I always forget because I always confuse it because there's so many comic book news, Cosmic Book News. Anyway, crazy stuff. Comic movie news or whatever it is. But regardless, they've been doing a great job. But when you get down to it, I think that the minute you start to hear the word belonging, I think the Trump folks already know that's bridge. They already know the minute you drop belonging in front of something, that's the first word of bridge. It's the belonging garbage. Belonging, DEI, just another way to rebrand his bridge. Filling the gap with the G. Ooh, that's a little forced. Regardless, and again, Microsoft's already compromised by bridge. In fact, it's already one of the things is the bridge allows them to basically infest the organization with this garbage from the ground up, every position from the top to the bottom. But that's a different conversation. I think the government's dedicated to getting this out of the way, because this is not a merit-based. We live in a merit-based society. DEI is not merit-based in any way. They want a bologna sausage communist thought process, which allows for equality of outcome. Do I think that Comcast is going to try to get out of its own way? Probably. And I'm not sure Brian Roberts is real thrilled about this, but he's going to have to comply, as are all of these other things, because as John said, I don't think you want to fight the government on this. I really don't. You're going to have whistleblowers coming out of your patoot. You know, people are be like, I'm not getting a job because they're favoring all the, you know, they're favoring people that are unqualified without merit based on race or skin color or based on the religious beliefs, based on, you know, all kinds of things, immutable characteristics that I can't control. I'm not getting a promotion because I'm redheaded. You know, it doesn't really matter. You cannot discriminate based on these types of protected things. So I have a feeling that the first person to test this, and John, correct me if I'm wrong, they'll be made an example of.
Yeah, I think that's what we're seeing here, right? I mean, that's what Carr said. He said that the reason why he was going after Comcast is so that, what did he say here? To root out invidious forms of DI discrimination across all of the sectors the FCC regulates. And he chose NBC Universal because it is across all of every
one of them
sectors. So he's like, we're going after you to basically make an example to everyone else. So I definitely agree. I mean, he's saying that right there, basically. He's saying that right there.
He's like, don't test us or it will be bad. And what I think is great is because Disney lacks the distribution that Comcast does. It just does put a little more meat on the bone for them to go digest, because it's every sector of the business they participate in. So bad. Yeah, delivery kind of ties Comcast's feet. This is the first time that Disney should be glad they don't have a distribution avenue outside of their streaming platform, which I honestly believe the FCC should have guidance over, but that's a different conversation.
Tom, thoughts on all this?
No, I mean, you guys have all brought pretty measured points to it, and I mean, there's not a whole lot more I could probably add. I guess I could just mostly agree with, that most of this is being cut from the source, like you said, and other things that were funding a lot of this crap. So that's where a lot of it's going. The money's not there anymore, as we've been telling people for years. It's being funded by outside sources, and we learned a lot of it was us. Your own tax dollars at work, kids. You know, $80,000 for this and $200,000. They're not even bothering hiding this shit anymore. Like
I missed some overseas bank. Did you see that one by the EPA? Like what?
And stuff for like transitions and stuff in other countries. It's like, look,
$20 billion in.
They're not even hiding this crap anymore like they used to. At least they used to hide it as like, you know, $500 million for a fucking toilet seat or $200,000 for a can opener. You know, the hammer, the old saying in Independence Day. You know, you don't believe it. We actually think you pay $50,000 for a hammer, do you? You know, we know the truth. Like, but so this is what we're actually seeing where this money's going. This is what we were telling people. Now, the other side of this too is like, you know, yes, they are going to try to rebrand it. Yes, there are the diehard in the wool people who treat this like a religion. And not only that, you got to understand it's even worse in some cases, because some folks, this was their living, right? Like they were basically, this is the grift. You know, we get called grifters all the time, and so many other people get called grifters. No, this is a flat out grift. Because and I can't remember exactly now. It was somebody in our chat who came up with the analogy, and I can't remember who it was offhand, but I give them full credit if I could remember. But they basically said all this stuff is like somebody who comes by, breaks your window, and says, "Oh my God, somebody broke your window. Well, it just so happens I have a new window to sell you here." It's like these are the people that are coming in and causing the problems, but then they're saying, "Well, I know how to fix it." It's like, well, you're the sons of buns that caused the problems to begin with. Sorry, I'm trying to watch my language now a little bit more than I was, but yeah, it's just it's so stupid and silly. Eventually it's going to work its way out. As you said, the law will be a good teacher for some of these folks, especially if they keep doing this stuff, because you can't hire somebody based on their race or their sex or their sexual orientation, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
Because we're getting in so deep in the weeds, and then people say, well, we need rights for this, that, and the other. We already have the rights. The problem was whether or not people are actually following the rule of the law. Well, that's where it comes in, where that's where you get a lawyer and you sue somebody, right? Like, that's what it used to happen. Nowadays, everybody feels like they got to be a victim and act like this stuff is, if they don't do it, then nobody else will. It's like, no, we've all been doing this for years. Things have been fine without your help, Hollywood, right? Like, we can do this. We're going to be fine without you. So, and a lot of these guys are going to start playing ball because, they've seen where the winds are going. And guess what? Rich people like money.
Yeah.
And you know what they like more than money? More money. So, and when they see their money going bye-bye because of stupid shit like this, do you really think they give a fuck?
No.
Now I said the F word again. Sorry.
Yeah. No, this is the EBN Cast. It's I don't. We still
I try to be more respectable.
But it doesn't bother me. But
you can play the no song.
Yeah. Fuck that no song.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But anyways, while you were talking about all that, Tom, I was just looking up the company I work for. They have a DEI office, and I was curious what they did with what they were going to do with it. And sure enough, I just looked up on Google, and there's an article about how they're closing their DEI offices. So
yeah, I mean that goes to these companies they were so what is the word? They weren't even trying to hide it. They had literal departments called their diversity and inclusion departments.
They were bald-faced.
Yeah,
they were completely unmasked, bald-faced, showing us what they were. Yeah. I
mean, I remember it was the Warner Brothers guy. He's like their chief diversity officer, and he's literally going on these panels, these TED Talks and things like that, and talking about how he's instituting policies to try and root out people who are opposed to the DEI agenda, and you want to get them to like leave the company so you can fill that role with someone who is a follower and things like that. That they had these like steps that they worked on to try and get these people who are opposed to this stuff out of their company. And that's at Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I'm curious how many of our tax dollars went to buy Hunter's artwork.
Yeah, the taped banana, that taped banana that they're now like mocking in a Super Bowl commercial.
Oh my God. Mexican Iron Man in the house, member for 49 months. Oh, look, it's Culture Casino. Gee, I wonder if he took my care package with casino chips to Orlando for Nick to bring to me. Probably not. Hashtag abandoned Mexican high roller. Culture time for live stream, but no time for Mexicans. Yeah, I got a chip, Culture, but you actually have not hung out with Mike in person before, have you?
I've tried to. It's all his fault. He could have been at the meetup, right? I mean,
no, he was in California with clients.
I actually have these chips for Mikey, so I don't know. I don't think he wants them that bad.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll have to just chunk them in the mail one day. Yeah, I would have if I would have known that he didn't have them, I would have mentioned it and grabbed some from you.
That would have been great. Yeah, it's he didn't show up. He doesn't really want them that bad, I don't think. So it's just
yeah. I actually just snagged him a little gift set that just arrived in the mail today. I was looking for a bottle of Eagle Rare because I was Christmas time because I was going to send it to Doomcock, but all they had was the very expensive bottles, and I saw that they had Eagle Rare freaking cigars. So Mikey's a big cigar fan, so they had a little travel humidor and a little that had like 5 cigars in it. And I was like, oh man, I gotta get this for Mike. So it just arrived in the mail today. But hail to you, Mexican Iron Man. Good to see you in chat. And Mark S47, who says, "What's the red ship?" Who's also in Orlando hanging out.
Yeah, that was, and it was great to see you, Marks. This is the first year chip. The red chip was the first year chip.
Yeah,
So
let me.
yeah.
That didn't work, Nick.
Nick doesn't know how to
Oh, there
drive
we go.
StreamYard.
There
There
we
we
go.
go. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the first year chip, the red chip. So still has Bear
For
Dog on it.
for your channel or
Yeah,
for
yeah. These are I give these away for free at meetups and stuff when I have them. So, but no, I've given away over 1,000 of these red chips now. But the red chips are year one. You had
how many did
blue
you print or make?
for which time? Year two,
For
I
your- for year one?
the first time I only made 500. I then had to reorder. I'm gonna have to reorder a third time for the red chips, but that's it. Only one more
Wow.
box of every chip. So yeah, red, blue, green, black. They went in exactly that order. So this next year I'm going to start handing out not this Vegas, but next Vegas probably, or maybe next MegaCon. I'm going to be handing out decks of cards.
That's what I was
Ooh,
gonna guess.
Cool.
Yeah.
Or like just
So-
a card. I was thinking of a playing card, maybe just like the Joker or whatever.
No, actually, I'm going to hand out.
Cards.
I'm going to hand out the whole deck. Yeah, I'm going to try to coordinate with creators like you to get your images, so I can have each of them printed on the face side of the card. With you could be the ace, or you could be the 2 of clubs, or whatever.
Oh,
And
that'd be cool.
on the back side, I already have a design done. An artist already did a design for the back, and it's me, all Doc Holiday.
Oh,
style.
okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's very
With a
cool.
whiskey.
No. It's just it's all the old style
Dressed up.
cowboy. Yeah, the old style
Okay.
cowboy black and white that they used to put on the back of playing cards. So
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
it's very cool stuff. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah,
All
I
right.
can't wait to get that out there. But I think I have a story, and I think we have to end soon. So let's talk
Yep.
a little bit about this one. And again, this is more in line with what we've already talked about. I'm sure John and everybody's come across different versions of this or written their own version. But when it comes to getting paid by the government, Disney stood in line more than a few times. And we're not talking about the wartime cartoons they used to do, which you can't even find anymore. I'm talking about the fact that they were out there with both hands shoveling your tax money right back at you. There's more than $14 million. We've seen 8 and 9 million in a couple of other cases where these funds are just like going for nefarious things. They definitely were getting money in light of some internal propaganda. They certainly were part of producing some things for the woke military side of the equation. This is not news, but it kind of is news because nobody knew to what extent they were, again, taking money. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I keep saying that. I don't think people are listening. DOD alone was caught up in just like a couple of things so far. They're still going at them. They've got, think about Medicare and Medicaid, which we found out, what was it, last night or the night before? It was $2.7 trillion in claims that were paid illegally.
Yeah,
fraudulent
and
claims.
I didn't see that. Wow.
on
Yeah.
top of that, there was a lot of doctors and stuff that were coming out saying, we will order stuff for so much, and they won't let us just order what we need. They always send bulk amounts,
Yes.
and we don't even need it, and it's just wasteful, and we don't need this much, and
Yeah.
they send it anyway. It's just there's so much waste out there, but thank God it's all starting to get cleaned up.
Yeah,
moving in
well,
a
and
different direction.
we're starting to learn why gaming is completely compromised, and it's our own government. We were making fun of, like, what was it, Norway's government for their funding of Dustborn.
And in the UK too. The UK's with their tax
we were
incentives
but we were funding. Wait a minute, we were funding
yeah.
the BBC from here in the state. Let's set that aside and just realize that USAID's Millions for Disney affiliated show, which is this bologna sausage team Sayari, that thing is just ridiculous. They've given money away to the National Geographic element of Disney. All of these just things all about this bologna sausage environmental awareness. Look, just don't pollute. Give a hoot. Don't pollute. Don't litter. Don't do bad things. But most of the green bologna sausage, and I'm going to point at that $20 billion slush fund for the green weirdness that Biden made sure that the gold bars were thrown onto before he left.
Yeah.
Thrown off the Titanic. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, this is where we're at, right? And so according to publicly available data, the US government approved up to $6 million in funding for Team Sayari shortly after Biden took office. I wonder why. The show debuted in 2022, but its reach and impact remains questionable. No kidding. How many people do you know that are in Africa who are, going to be watching that and not football, which is soccer to us in the States? They're not going to watch this crap. If they have the time, if they have the ability, they are not watching this. No. Team Sayari was an entire waste of cash that just kind of lined people's pockets. And that's the biggest problem with all of this kind of waste. But given substantial funding involved, the lack of transparency surrounding the program's success or lack thereof is troubling. No kidding. Was taxpayer money used efficiently? Or was this another example of government largesse benefiting a powerful media corporation? And there's this mystery company now, which again, you're going to want to watch the video that Pro and I recorded right before I got here, which will be up here quickly on that channel. Check out WDW Pro. But in addition to this Team Sayari thing, that Park Place identified another questionable financial connection. Now, mind you, we're not even at the explicit stuff. This is the things people are pulling out of here. So more than 14.89 million from the Department of Defense federal payments were made to a company called Buena Vista Non-Theatrical. Guys,
is that Hunter Biden's?
Maybe they bought some art from Hunter. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the DoD actually, this is part of the payment for those commercial animations that were made with My Two Moms and the chick that was all about love and diversity in the Army or some such. Do you remember that garbage?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that no wonder recruiting fell off the planet. I mean, they couldn't pull anybody into the military. It's all going to be, this weird fluffy rainbow junk. But anyway, so this entity has virtually no online presence, raising immediate flags. No kidding. However, the investigator traced its physical location through MapQuest, and it's listed location. It visits a page that is forbidden on disney.go.com. It's in Burbank. This is located in Burbank. I'm pretty sure. But these are the things that Pro pointed out. Buena Vista Non-Theatrical. By the way, I love searching these things. And now, did you know that Doge has its own website that you can go spelunking in, and that they're going to put some more stuff up there?
I do, because I remember going and looking for it when Elon was talking about it. And basically he said they're going to be very transparent. They're putting everything out there, which is more than we've gotten from probably any administration in the last 2 decades.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you the total number of employees. Like right now, the executive branch is looking down on 2.2 million employees for the U.S. government. Did you know that?
Wow. No.
There are 16,000 subordinate offices, which means we're paying for a lot of empty space. Total wages for federal employees is $211 billion. And you have tenure, salary, the age of the people that are involved. You have cabinet level agencies. It tells you everything. And by the end of the day, they should be able to track just how much Doge is saving us as taxpayers. So they're going to start keeping a running tally of that, according to the website. It'll be no later than Valentine's Day. So we're waiting on it. It also tracks the unconstitutionality index, which is the number of laws and rules created by not elected officials. And it is.
What is the website? Is it just doge.gov?
It is doge.gov.
Yep.
Yeah. Enjoy. All right. Regardless, as that gets more, as that gets more meat and potatoes, that is one location you go to look for. Just obviously the broad information for the public, but there are places to go search, as you can see here in this article, to find out where this money is going. So, look, if you just search it out, look at all these things. Buena Vista Non-Theatrical. There's several things here. You can keep going on through this and find more and more of it. This is pretty disgusting. So, despite nearly 15 million in government funding, there is no public record detailing what these payments were for. Uh, One possible and entirely acceptable explanation would be funding for Shades of Green. I don't think it has been. If anything, they're trying to shed Shades of Green because that's the military resort on Walt Disney World property. There's just no way to know for sure. But the media's role in hiding the truth, well, Disney owned ABC's News, which has been highly critical of Elon Musk's Doge. The Musk's agency has made it a priority to investigate wasteful government spending, including USAID's questionable outlays. ABC News's coverage has often framed Doge's efforts as politically motivated and overreaching. I wonder just how much, as the question is asked here by Marvin, that they're terrified of being found out. What do you guys think? Isn't this kind of a fun time to live in finally? And do you think the Overton window has shifted?
I do for sure. It's like every day is like Christmas time, with the Trump administration. Like every single day there's something coming out, something new we're learning, something they're releasing. We're finding out more corruption, more wasteful spending. It's a great time to live in right now. And this is what the American people voted for, and this is what they're getting. And all the woke lefty weirdos are going to sit there and try to spin the narrative, trash all over Trump, Elon, everybody else involved. Even Democrats are, like, as far as citizens, not very many politically, but even a lot of Democrat voices out there are like, hang on a second, like, why is our party, pushing back on all this so much? Like, this is all good stuff. So yeah, good times right now. John, thoughts on all this?
I'm really glad that this more of this stuff is being exposed. That's what I voted for, to get rid of a lot of this stuff, and the rate that it's happening is surprising even me. I wasn't sure if we were going to get this kind of actual change, but I think Donald Trump means business this time. Very changed from how he ran his first term. So I'm really happy about all of this stuff, and I know I'm not the best messenger on this, but I do think that the law is a teacher, and I do think that he is changing the Overton window, and I think this is evidence that politics can dictate the culture rather than kind of culture dictating politics. So I think we're going to continue. I hope we continue to see this stuff, and I hope that he continues doing what he is doing, and that he does have to make sure that he keeps it all above board, and gets it all out there, and make sure that it's all open. And I think that's the biggest thing there, is that all this stuff is being done in the shadows. It's being hidden. They know that this stuff is wrong. That's why they do it in the shadows, and we're finally getting some light onto it. So now we can actually address a lot of these problems and show it to people that were calling us conspiracy theorists and everything else over the last, I don't know, decade plus, when we were talking about a lot of these things. So it's hard when reality hits you in the face to continue to deny it over and over and again. But I'm really happy that this is happening, and I hope it continues.
Yeah, I would love if Elon would buy Disney and basically own ESPN, ABC, Disney, the parks, and basically take the Doge team in there. Oh my God, privatize! Oh God, that would be awesome. But Tom, thoughts on all this?
So I don't know if Tom stepped away or not, but I did want to add this one thing. I did go and look at one of these this Buena Vista non-theatrical on the usaspending.gov. It doesn't say specifically what it's for, but it does say that it is for motion picture and video distribution, and one of them is for like $811,000, and it also talks about like photographic equipment. So we don't know I don't think that's the resort, right? That sounds like it's not the resort, unless there's
No,
like
that's-
something within the
That's,
resort.
yeah, that's not shades of green. And again, I mean, like
Yeah.
you said, it could be any of those services, right? So
Yeah.
I do know that one of the things that Disney does for others under different
Says it was
names
a
is,
television program. So
yeah. Well, that might be that say Mari team, or that might be that could be a recruitment thing. Who knows, man? Who knows?
could be that. What was that? The Proud Family, like you'll be funding for that. Who kn- I mean,
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I went to the Doge website and was just checking it out. Like they're literally posting stuff every single day. Like today at 2:40. Like literally just like less than 30 minutes ago. 1.9 billion of HUD money was just recovered after being misplaced during the Biden administration due to a broken process. These funds were earmarked for the administration of financial services but were no longer needed. As Secretary Turner and Doge worked together to fix this problem.
the issue and deobligated the funds, which are now available for other use by the Treasury.
Yeah, you're seeing the same one I'm looking at. Yeah.
Yeah. It links to X. I just continued.
Yeah, I clicked on it and it just pulled up right when you started reading it. I think we got Tom back. Tom, thoughts on all this?
I hope that they uncover more of this shit. I mean, the more and more, and this is what I was saying before, like where the money was coming from. In fact, I was on Pro's show the day that they were changing the website and all that kind of stuff, and I got a little pushback at first on my point, which I brought up. Like this you said thing is just the beginning, right? Once they start pulling the money from all these places, we're going to see more of this. And as we were having that discussion, that's when this happened. And the news came down about all this other stuff that's going on over at Disney, and as far as their shifting of DEI practices, or however they want to word it. Because I agree with you guys for the most part. It doesn't mean they're necessarily going to end it, but they're definitely going to try to either hide and obfuscate what is there still. And otherwise, if they lost their funding, then they lost their funding, right?
Yeah.
Like at that point, they're not going to continue to do it. They don't have the money to do it. And that's where all this money's been coming from all this time, and how they can have so many failures yet keep doing it.
Yeah, which we've been called conspiracy theorists for kind of making those connections, pointing it out, etc. Now we have the evidence that affirms everything we've been saying.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but yeah, we'll get we're just not even a month in and we already got all this. Like God, the next 4 years are gonna be pretty exciting. But anyways, guys, that is gonna do it for us for today's show. I want to thank everybody for being here today. Tom, John, Culture, and all of you out there in chat. Thank you for all the super chats that you guys sent today. Real quick, because I didn't do it earlier, I'm gonna play
Conan.
my favorite super chat video, Conan.
Yes.
Yeah, and I actually saw Tom was on Jay's stream. They were doing a Conan stream. Was that this week, Tom?
Monday.
Yeah, Monday. Yep. Yeah. But with that said, guys, I'm gonna go around the room. John, tell everybody what you got going on, where they can find you, and of course, guys, links for all these guys' stuff is in the description below.
Yeah, so you can find various articles that I write every single day on phantompulse.com, cover everything from video games, movies, television shows, comics, novels, even tabletop gaming in some cases over on phantompulse.com. And then I also have a Trent Report, a YouTube channel here on YouTube. And then I also cover stock car racing, primarily dirt late models, but the NASCAR season is kicked up, so I'll be covering some of that as well. The asphalt season is picking up, so covering that. Lots of stuff happening. Daytona 500 is this weekend. I think they're still they raced the duels last night. So a lot of stuff happening over there. And obviously the dirt late models are racing with the World of Outlaws at Volusia down there in Florida as well. So lots to cover on that front. And that you can just search my name, John F. Trent, and that one should show up.
Awesome. Culture, what do you got going on?
Well, I'm trying to put the finishing touches on this this video review I am doing for this terrible Captain America: Brave New World garbage film.
Me and Mike are going to see it tonight.
Oh, you poor people.
Yeah.
Take a pillow because there's like at least 3 spots you might fall asleep.
Yeah.
Believe me, people have been saying they have fallen asleep in this film. It is dull, empty, and in ways predictable, in ways you're like, what is happening? If you didn't watch every single bit of Disney Plus content, every single film, you are going to find points where you're lost. You're also going to find points where you're lost because there's no linear storytelling involved. This is all just a combination of reshoots. I mean, I could go on, and I actually do in my review. This thing is 20 some minutes long.
Wow.
I talked for 40 something minutes to camera because I'm like, this thing sucks. You know, and there are spoilers throughout. I'm not even going to pretend there are no spoilers in my video. I don't care. I'm trying to save you $10, $12, $15.
Is there any like successful movie or television show that does not have linear storytelling? I don't know if I asked that the right way. Like, if you storytelling, is there anything that's actually like successful?
I mean, again, it's not it's not linear in the way that like you need a through line. This is non-linear because there are too many cuts and material they cut out because there was part of
it's not like Witcher season 1. It's
no. That's the worst thing I think I've ever seen as far as that goes. But I actually enjoyed the season. I just you have to figure out a way to edit it for yourself that it makes sense because it was very poorly done. That chick is how they gave her that job is beyond me. Regardless, I'm just gonna say it this way: you're gonna want to watch the video. I break down the entire plot of the film, and you're still gonna get lost because I wrote notes. I wrote multiple pages of notes. At one point, I wrote, "Why is he still wearing that necktie?" Because there's nothing left of the necktie. It's just the knot. The rest of the tie is gone. So I'm like. There's crazy stuff in this movie, and they bring back. There's interesting cameos, but they're nonsensical.
Liv Tyler's. I know
that actually makes sense at the end of the film, and you'll find out why. But that's probably the only one that does. I mean, there's random Bucky for some reason.
Oh, he does show up. He does.
Yeah. There's a bunch of random.
Is it actually a new scene or is it?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
Well, I thought they would repurpose the footage or something like a flashback or something like that.
No. This is actually.
I already kind of knew he was in the movie a while back, so I'd be more surprised if he wasn't.
Yeah, it's kind of a 5-minute bit there, and apparently they ditched the wrestler guy for a different bulky muscle guy. Yeah. And I was watching. I'm like, that scene's a waste. I'm like, all right, what is this for? I mean, well, we have to have fights and stuff, right? I mean, that's the level of thinking in this movie. It's like there's no point for this. There's no point for a lot of it, and I feel like the reason that they had to reshoot the entire film and have to come back and reshoot it again was because they were trying to figure out how to put Sidewinder from Serpent Society into it, because like they didn't have the right villains. It's disjointed in kind of like what was the Iron Man where they were trying to hide the bad guy and they brought in Discount, not exactly
the third one.
Yeah, that's what this is. It's like that kind of
Aldrich or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm going, he's not in it, but I'm just saying it's like that kind of a feeling. It's like, why are all these disjointed things coming together in this movie? So that's what this is. That's really bad. So.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll.
When you get a chance.
Yeah, we'll be talking about it.
I'm gonna upload this in about an hour and a half or so, I would imagine, because I'm still editing it. I'm trying to put in all my best like action hero fight music. Right.
I gotcha.
And I'm going through it all because that's the only way to keep this interesting, I think. It's not like I'm giving a poor performance of the material because I talk straight to camera. I didn't do
Yeah.
anything scripted. It's because what I'm covering is dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've seen a good review of it yet, except from Grace Randolph. And
What'd she say?
she was just talking about how great it was and how
Wow.
she thought the performances were awesome and good movie, great addition to the Marvel universe, and then Roca, of course, he liked the movie, and um, Christian Harloff, he of course liked it. Campia thought it was Campia was really the only one that was like, it's not a bad movie, but it's also not a good one.
Interesting.
So I
Most of the
thought
critics are giving it bad reviews. It's got like a 51%.
yeah,
Not a movie.
yeah. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what it does this weekend. I'll be surprised if this thing hits 70 million domestic, but we'll see. Tom,
It had big previews, 12 million. So anyway,
Yeah.
No, 12 is low. They're trying to say that's big. That's worse than Ant-Man. That's worse than
think
Yeah.
about
Deadpool and Wolverine. That's worse than all of them. But
Okay.
it's worse than all of the movies of the last 3 years, except for Marvel's.
But
And the Marvels did 6.6.
But John, wait. I mean, it's 2 million more than the 2014 movie opened to, Winter Soldier.
It's that's you got to factor in inflation, and then Winter
yeah.
Soldier did like 13,
What?
so it's actually 1.5 more.
You mean there's 11? You mean 11 years makes a difference?
Yeah.
Yeah. Surprisingly.
I also think movie going habits have changed too, because I think the movies are obviously way more front loaded now, and so the diehards were there yesterday, and I don't think it's going to do as well this week.
The drop off.
IMDb, it's like 5.7.
Yeah, the drop off in week 2 for this is going to be insane.
The Rotten Tomatoes is at like 70 something last I checked too. I mean, it's not looking good on any metric I've seen.
Yeah. Tom, what do you got going on coming up?
Work. Videos. I'm sure I'll pop up somewhere between here and then.
You got He-Man stuff? Got anything on He-Man? You see those new
Look, I haven't we haven't done anything yet, but we saw those pictures and
Yeah.
I figured you guys be on top of the He-Man stuff. The police officer.
We talked about it this morning on the show,
Yep. Midnight's Edge After Dark. Like I said, links in the description below. With that said, guys, again, be sure to smash that like button on your way out. Thank you so much for being here. As we always say here, we are, you are, Echo Base Network. Until the next one, guys, see you later.